Hey guys, this is Sonia the RV DJ coming at you. Today we're going to be winterizing the camper. I'm going to walk you through step by step, let you know what we do to shut the camper down for the winter. So let's go. Alright guys, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to dump the black tank and empty that out. While that black tank is flushing, we're going to hook up the water hose to the black tank flush. And this will spray the inside of the black tank to make sure to get all of the waste off of the sensors. We're going to do that in 2 points. We're going to do that for the midsection of the tanks, and then we're going to flush from the bottom and flush up into the tanks and get any residue that might be in the bottom of the tank. Is one of those self-coiling hoses. I forgot the actual name brand of the hose, but it extends when you put pressure through the hose, and it will retract when you release the pressure from the hose. So I'll show you how that works. As you can see, it's kind of coiled up right now. So when we pick it up and turn the spigot on, see it extend. You turn the motor on. So you can see the hose actually starting to fill up. And we actually have the black tank is now, the sprayers are now spraying the inside of the black tank. And we still have the black tank open. Make sure you keep it open for that so everything can run out. And you'll see that all the stuff that was stuck on the sensors on the side of the tank is actually running out of the sewer pipe. So you can do this in 2 ways. You can let it run like we are for a few minutes. Just let it run until it runs clear out of the sewer pipe, or you can do it in phases, or you can stop it and let everything that's in there run out, and then you can start the sprayers again and repeat the process. So we're going to shut this off now. We're going to disconnect this hose from the black tank flush. All the water seems to be running out clear. And we're going to reconnect it to the Rhino Blaster so we can flush from the bottom. And this is, you hit this lever and it shoots the water through a pressurized end on the hose back into the tank. And we'll get anything from the bottom of the tank out that the sprayers may have missed. Let that go, let the water run out. You see there's some stuff that's coming out that was stuck to the bottom of the tank. Hit it again. And as a reminder, always do this when the black tank valve is open, because you get too much water in there and it just will make a big mess. It'll overflow out of your toilet. It'll come out from the underside of the camper. It'll just be a mess. Alright, so now that the black to empty the gray tank. Close that valve on the black tank, pull the gray tank. Let that come out. As you can see, the city water hose has already been disconnected from the camper. This is where the city water hose would have went. We already disconnected that before we started. Now that the gray tank is emptied out, if you want to, and this is totally optional, it's up to you, you can also back flush the gray tank in case there's any soap or sediment or anything stuck on the sprayers. So we're going to do that real quick, maybe once or twice, and then that'll be done. Alright, so we're now releasing the hose, the water pressure from the hose, and you'll slowly start to see it retract. And once you release it from this side, you just coil it back up again. Okay, so as I said earlier, the city water connection was already taken from the camper side. So this is one of those disposable water filters. This is going to get tossed in the garbage. And then you just coil up your freshwater hose and put it back in the camper. It's always suggested to you get a new one for every season. And this just comes off the bottom of the hose like this. And you just throw it away. I always suggest when you're hooking up the hose to the side of the camper, always get yourself a 90-degree angled fitting so that you're not putting into the camper like this and causing stress on, or a possible kink like that into the hose, and you'll have no issues with water pressure or anything like that. We did not use a water pressure regulator at this campground because the water pressure's set at the perfect range, so you don't need one. It's not too low and it's not too high. So we always use one of these on the end of the hose when we put it in the camper like this. It lets the hose run straight. Alright, so we had to get a little bit of help from one of my neighbors. He used to work here at the campground. I had to loosen up the plug on the hot water heater so we can drain that. Just be careful, it could be a little messy and a little warm.
Yeah, first it was running. And always open your valve.
And open your valve, yeah.
That'll get all the water in.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We just needed some muscle.
Yeah, this plug is...
They're going to replace the water heater, so we'll probably have a new one in anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
As you can see, the water heater is draining. Like I said, be careful when you get that plug out because it will be hot water. And it will make a mess, as you can obviously, and also make sure that your release drain is open as well. Alright, so now that we've emptied the water heater, we're coming back down here to open the low point drains to get any excess water out. There's one for the cold and one for the hot. So you have some water coming out of that. when you blow out the lines to get the rest of the water out, some water will also come out of there as well. Alright, so here we have what they call a blowout plug. You take this cap off, and that's what you would connect the air compressor end to. The other end with the threads gets screwed into the city water connection like this. Pretty much what you do is when you hook up the air compressor, you blow air in through here, and it will blow water out of all of the water lines from the shower, bathroom sink, and kitchen sink out. Mm-hmm. Blowout plug, you go inside and open up all your faucets. Alright, so now I am back in the kitchen. You always start from the furthest faucet away from the back of the camper. So for us that would be the kitchen. So you open up the faucet. If there's any water left in the system, make sure that it drains out. And then when Jim turns the compressor on, it will blow the lines up from the kitchen out to the faucet. And as you can hear, the come back to the bathroom. To the shower. And it looks like the kitchen faucet is clear. No water coming out of there. Doesn't look like there's any water coming out of the bathroom faucet. And the shower head will have some water blowing out of the water heater itself. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start closing the faucets, starting from the front in the kitchen back to the shower, to force any other water that is left back out through the water heater. So we'll start here, we'll close this. Come back here, close these. Close the shower, and then whatever remaining water is left after the system pressurizes is going to get blown back out. And we still have a little bit of water coming out of the low point drains also. Alright, so now I am under the bunks looking at the water heater. What we're going to do is bypass the water heater, which is with these two valves here. And pretty much what you do is you just turn them like this. So one's facing up like that. And that one's facing that way. And now your water heater is bypassed. Alright, Alright, so here we have the RV antifreeze, the good old pink stuff as they call it. This is going to go into the tanks via the kitchen sink, the bathroom sink, and also down into the black tank through the toilet. And then you're going to leave some in the toilet to keep the gasket around the toilet lubricated. So we have, are you taking? So we have 2 gallons of this stuff, which is more than enough to get the job done. This will also sit in the P-trap under the sink as well. Alright, so we're going to put some into the black tank through the toilet. So you open your toilet. That finishes that gallon. And then what you have left, we'll do a little bit more because it's kind of much. What you have left is going to sit in the top of the toilet. So you're going to let the flap go, close the toilet, and put some in there. This is to make sure that the gasket around the valve in the toilet stays lubricated. Okay, so anything that you may have that's around the kitchen or the bathroom sink, be it dishwashing liquid, hand soap, anything like that, I always put it in the sink, because if it does get cold enough to the point where the bottles are going to expand or explode or anything like that, at least it's in the sink and not all over your counter or your bathroom. So I always make it a point to do that. What we just got finished doing inside the camper now, after we bypass the water heater, is we turn the refrigerator off, emptied it out, and the doors are going to stay open so that no mold or anything nasty grows inside the refrigerator. All right. So,
and ladies and gentlemen, you have just heard my 2 cents.
So now, what we do. So underneath the foil cover, this also has a white netting material. You're going to leave that on, and then just put the cover back on like that. And just put it anywhere that you want to put it, and it'll absorb the moisture through here, through the pellets, and then the water will sit down the bottom. So now we're going to disconnect the sewer hose from the camper. Like that. Our tanks are closed. Alright, so now that the sewer hose is disconnected from the camper and safely put in its bag, we're going to put the sewer cap back on. Alright, so because I don't do ladders or heights, Jim's going to get up on the ladder and use the rubber seal conditioner on the gaskets on the slide so that they are lubricated, so we don't have an issue with opening or closing or opening the slides in the spring, so that the slide doesn't get stuck on anything. And then he's going to actually use dry lube on the cables for the slide out. So pretty much all you do is you spray it onto the gasket. And you wipe it down. And he's going to do that all the way around, top to bottom, and that will keep the slide gasket from drying up and sticking to the slide itself, causing an issue when opening it up. Now he's using the lubricant on the chain, on the cable for the slide, and he's going to wipe down the slide underneath. And that's that. Alright, so he already blew the leaves off the top of the slide box, so there's no issues with leaves getting inside the camper through the gasket. All that was done earlier. He's just spraying the top of the gasket down now. Alright, so now what we're going to do with the slide lubricated and the chain lubricated, we're now going to pull the slide in using this button right here. Slide in. Jim is going to go around to the other side and check that there's no interference or anything keeping the slide from coming in fully. So now that the slide is closed in, we're going to disconnect the camper from the electrical pedestal. First, we're going to turn off all the lights inside the camper are off. Gas is off, water is disconnected obviously. So we're now going to turn the breaker off to the pedestal, which is the 30 amp breaker right here. We're going to turn that off. That's going to disconnect the power to the cord. This is the 20 amp that I use to plug into for my gigs, so we'll turn that off as well. And then the surge protector is off, and then we will just pull everything out of the pedestal, close the pedestal up, and then the connection of the power cord to the camper is actually a twist. It's like a marine type 30 amp plug with a where you unscrew this ring, twist it to the left, and that's it, and you're disconnected.